Hey everyone, welcome back to Bird Talk with Terrence Mathis. I'm William Brandon. Please make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel Atlanta Sports Unlimited and turn on those notifications so you don't miss an episode. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the simplest sports fantasy game in the market. And get this, sign up using the code ASU and Prize Picks will 100% match your initial offer up to $100. Download the app for free at the Google Play Store or the App Store. Well, it looks like the Atlanta Falcons have got their coach, Raheem Morris, Los Angeles Rams coordinator and former Atlanta Falcons interim head coach. Um, we know we didn't really know where it would go, and it's been a lot of jockeying back and forth, but it looks like Atlanta has got their man. How do you feel? Just your instant reaction to Raheem Morris being named the new Falcons head coach?
You know what? My initial reaction was almost like, interesting. And then I started to do my research and look back whatsoever. And here's the thing. Whoever was going to get hired as head coach, a lot of people weren't going to be happy about regardless. And the bad thing about it is people want to go back. Well, he was once a head coach. He only had one winning season in 3 years, blah, blah, blah. He was on the staff with Dan Quinn when they lost, and he took over as interim head coach and they didn't win and all this stuff. Let's go back. When he became the head coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he was 33 years old.
Yep,
33 years old.
very young.
He's 47. And I would think from that time to where he is now, that he's learned a lot about the game management, how to be a CEO of a football organization, and how to relate to players. Think about it. He was
Yep.
33. He probably had, I would say, at least five guys on that team that was just as old as him or older.
No,
So
I agree with you.
he was gonna have
He was following
he was
that.
gonna have a rough time anyway.
He was following
Yeah.
John Gruden in Tampa. So he came in a young guy. He did have one winning season out of there, but he has really paid
Hmm.
his dues. He's been on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. He has really
Yes. Yeah.
paid his dues. And then when the last time here in Atlanta, again, he was the interim. He didn't really get to put things in position how he may have wanted them, and he was kind
Right.
of cleaning
Right.
up the mess. That's my only thing though
Right.
about the Raheem Morris hire. It makes that
Right.
Arthur Smith hire look so bad now. It's because like why didn't you just keep Raheem
Right.
Morris then? Instead, you
Right.
just got this guy
Hmm.
for that amount of time.
Right. And if you recall now, I think he has two Super Bowl rings. Two. So he's been to the championship. He has championship pedigree, which I keep telling you, you gotta have championship pedigree, not only in the meeting rooms, in the locker room, on the
Right.
football field, but on the sidelines. And with Raheem, that's what you're bringing. Look, not just long ago, he just won a Super Bowl with the Rams as defensive coordinator. So and people want to argue Slowick and Ben Johnson. What is it that you so enamored about Ben Johnson and Bobby Slowick? Why is it that you just feel that that would have been the answer for this franchise? Uh,
And I think that's like a
and the
small
only
amount of people, but I think they're just
yeah,
they're enamored and in awe of what they saw in one season on the offensive side of the ball. But I agree with you. There's no reason to jump to those conclusions like this
right.
person's going to be a good head coach and maybe even a great one off of one coordinating year.
Well, here's the thing. Slowick and Johnson had success this year as first time play callers.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't had a season or two or three where it was a struggle, where their jobs may have been on the line, where they had to right the ship. They haven't had that. They haven't had that situation where your Pro Bowl quarterback has to sit down and he's injured and you had to play a backup whatsoever. They haven't been through those situations yet. They also was for the first time this year ran a room which was half of the team because all they were in control of was the offense. So
Right.
they didn't really become they was vice president to the CEO of the team. That's the best place to put it. So they was not running everything from the practice schedules to the meeting times to whatever they were doing. They had they one thing where for offensive coordinator, let me tell you, if you're just an offensive coordinator, all one of your jobs is to put together the practice plan, the game plan, whatsoever. And then you go in and with your coaches and you talk about it.
Hmm.
And then you go in with the whole team and talk about the philosophy of the week. And then guess who implements the game plan from there? The position coaches.
Right.
And you don't see the offensive coordinator again until you get back on the practice field. So I don't
And,
I want to get away from that. I want to get away from that. But let's be happy for Raheem Morris. Let's support Raheem Morris whatsoever. The interesting thing is who is he going to bring in here as his defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator? That's
and
the
and
question now.
and speaking of that, it looks like his offensive coordinator, it may be Zach Robinson, who is currently the Rams QB coach and pass game coordinator. He's a young man himself in his 30s.
Yeah.
And this is someone looks like Raheem's going to bring over with him from the LA Rams. So it's another guy that's probably been under that McVay tree and in that room, um, that hopefully can bring some something new and efficient to the team. We've got to get a QB, and hopefully that's going to pivot to the next thing. McKay, how much control? It looks like he still has all the control. I'm happy we got our first. Atlanta has their first black head coach, and we have a black GM. Now, is Rich McKay going to allow them to work together and create this team, or is he still going to be? Because some people feel like the Falcons should have gotten Belichick, and they feel like we didn't get Belichick because of Rich McKay. It had to be one or the other. So I see some people out on Twitter are upset that Rich McKay squandered that, so to speak. So I'm still happy for Raheem. I just hope they let him do what he needs to do.
Well, here's the thing with that situation with Rich McKay and Raheem and Terry Fontenot. Here's what I see. I think Rich McKay has heard what they've been saying out there about him. And I think for the first time in years, he's probably looked in the mirror and said, am I the reason why this franchise can't be what it should be? Maybe I should loosen up a little bit. Maybe I should not get involved a little bit. If I was Rich McKay, um, what I would do, well, let's if I was Arthur Blank, I would tell Rich McKay, give these guys a chance. If they get in trouble, I'm pretty sure they're going to come to you and ask you for advice. But I think you should not meddle and interject and let them run the football team. And let's see what happens.
Right.
If it starts to become one of those things where it becomes a little brush fire, let's go in and then you can do whichever you can do is to put it out. But
Hmm.
let these guys do their thing. These guys are closer to the players and closer to the performance on the field than you are. So let's take what they know about today's players, today's climate, and let them interject it into our football program and our franchise so we can be successful. I think that's that conversation you got to have with them. And people can say, well, he's never going to have that conversation because of him and Blank are buddies and Blank trusts him because Blank has warped his mind because he knows more about football than Blank whatsoever. But what Blank know is business. And he knows it very well.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he knows he listens. See, Arthur Blank comes from a customer service business.
Right.
And this is how he runs this franchise is this is a customer-based business and he's listening to his customers. Trust me, he's hearing everything that's being said out there about his president of his organization. He's
Right.
hearing it. He's hearing it and he's not liking it because he knows that what it comes down to is money. And he wants to be well liked. And the thing is, he's going to do everything necessary. I'm and people can say, "Oh, Terrence, you just you in the clouds." I truly believe, because people have reached out to me and stuff. I truly believe this is going to work. The reason why I say this is going to work, if you haven't listened to Louis Riddick on Twitter or whatever, listening to him talk whatsoever, we got to get out the notion that the head coach has to have this big, elaborate resume,
Mhm.
championships, all pro players, former Hall of Fame players, and X's and O's and all these things. We got to get out of that, because in today's game, it's about the mental state of your players. If you can't connect with them mentally, they're not going to play for you. They're not going to play for you.
And I can
I think Raheem Morris is a likable guy, and he can be a big influence in that locker room to make them to help these guys play at the highest level that they can play.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Since the news been announced, as you said, just I mean on Twitter, there are a lot of former Falcons, non-Atlanta Falcons, just other players in the league who are all speaking like, "Hey, I'm so happy for Raheem. I'm so happy
Yes,
for the Falcons. I can't
yes,
wait." They're using words like, "I can't wait to watch the Falcons."
yes,
You know,
yes,
as you said before, we need a leader of men, and that
yes,
we can say he is.
yes.
The team always kind of rallied behind him,
Mm-hmm.
and it seems like even in LA as the same thing. So I'm excited for it. I'm happy to see. And as you said, he's a businessman, Arthur Blank, and he made a
Mm-hmm.
smart one with that one. I'll say
Right.
because,
Yeah, it was a
uh,
smart move.
yeah, it's definitely gonna get some people back in the stadium.
It is in many ways, in many ways in one.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. And
Hopefully, the NFL is intrigued as well, and hopefully, we get a quarterback so they're even more intrigued, and they can get more on the national spotlight. Some primetime games,
mhm.
things like that. Because, like I said, I'm excited that they finally got their man because it
Well,
was it was getting hectic over the past few days. Harbaugh just signed yesterday with the
yeah,
Chargers. He kind of
yeah,
used Atlanta for leverage to.
of course. That's what you do.
It seems like Atlanta is always getting used for leverage, though.
Yeah. Because everybody knows this owner spends money, and everyone knows that this is the place where you want to raise your family
Mhm.
whatsoever. It's a lot of things to do. Um, and I think that it's an easy way to get leverage for another job, and I think they did a great job at that. Here's the thing: when Harbaugh did not get on that plane and come, I knew it was a wrap.
Yeah.
I knew it was a wrap. I knew he was. I knew he was staying in L.A. and signing in L.A. and I knew it was a wrap. And I said, okay, what's going to happen? And then the Carolina Panthers got their guy today, and I said, okay, something's going to happen. I said, we talked last week. You and I talked
Mhm.
last week. Well, earlier this week, and you asked me, says, when do you want to tape the show? I
Right.
said, I said, let's wait till Thursday, because I think by Thursday we'll have a new head coach, because you can just feel it and see how things were coming down.
Mhm.
And understand this, talking about the X's and O's. If he brings the offensive coordinator with him from LA, from the Rams, you gonna this is gonna be like the Houston offense. It's gonna be like the Rams offense. It's gonna be like the 49ers offense. It's gonna be like I forgot who else runs this offense. It's gonna be like the Miami Dolphins offense.
Right.
So now guess what you need? You need a quarterback. You need a
Mhm.
quarterback, and then you're gonna need the and I'm not a more dynamic wide receiver offensively to get this thing done. And then defensive wise, do you not think what Raheem was doing with Aaron Donaldson, or Aaron Donald,
Aaron Donald.
what he's gonna do with Grady Jarrett? I know Grady Jarrett is excited about this one. I know he is, because he's like, oh my God, I'm gonna be put in positions to be successful. I might play defensive end, I might play the three technique, I might be nose tackle, whatsoever. And it's gonna be exciting, man. And I don't think the defense falls off at all. The defense won't fall off at all. And I think the offense, you're gonna see better uh scheme, and you're
Mhm.
gonna see a better play from this offense. And the thing, I don't know they're thinking if they want to go get a free agent and then draft a guy and let him sit for a year or
Right.
two. or or here's what I would do if I'm Raheem
Terry.
and I'm Zach Robinson and I'm sitting in there and I'm saying, let's go draft a guy at quarterback. This is a new beginning, new coaching staff. Let's draft a guy. Let's draft. We got enough weapons around him. Maybe we add one more, and then we have a defense that's going to play lights out. We're just missing this quarterback. Let's go draft one. And then I don't know where that guy is in free agency. That's an edge rusher that we've been talking about for the last 10 years. Got to go get that dude.
Burns, Carolina. I mean,
Yep.
there's plenty of guys I think that'll be available.
Yeah, we got to go get that dude. And I think we're rush in away and a quarterback away of being very, very good.
And, and
Very
that's and that's a good point because, like you said, now we've got our coach. Now it's time to get the ball rolling. Because if you're moving up, that's time to start having the discussion with those other teams
right.
about what are they going to do and about moving up. We got to go ahead and start having fillers, so to speak, to find out what's going to be the move because they're going to have to solidify that position. We're a
Right.
quarterback away from being back in the playoffs. I honestly feel that we've been saying that.
Right.
That's all we've got to lock down. So
Right.
I'm excited they got the coach resolved. They didn't have to wait till the Ben Johnson to play their
Right.
game
Yeah.
another week. I mean,
Right.
that would have just kept going on and on. So
I just think this is a good fit. I really, really think this is a good fit. A guy that knows the area, that knows the culture of Atlanta and have been in the locker room whatsoever. And like you said, a lot of guys, former players that's played with him in LA and others are giving a thumbs up on this guy and wishing him luck. And that's all we can ask for. You got a 24-hour rule, people. Here's the 24-hour rule. You can be mad for 24 hours, but after 24 hours, let it go. That's the 24-hour rule. That's how we are in the NFL. We lose, we got a 24-hour rule. We vent for 24 hours. But then after that 24 hours over with, we got to move on to the next thing. It's over with and done with. So go ahead, like it or not, do what you have to do. Curse, yell, scream, whatever you want to do. But listen, he's our coach. And as a fan, we're going to support him and we're going to wish him nothing but the best. So we can travel to or we'll travel down to the Mercedes-Benz for the NFC Championship game and then travel to the Super Bowl game. That's our goal. That's the goal for the 2024 season. Play in the championship game, win it, and go to the Super Bowl and win that. That's the goal.
that'd be awesome because the Super Bowl's in New Orleans and
yeah.
where better to win our first Super Bowl than in New Orleans.
Right. It's all set up. Look, the story is being written right now.
And as you say that, people want to and I wanted to bring up the Belichick thing again for a second because some people are like, oh, McKay, this, that, and the third. But do people ever think for one moment though that Belichick still came in with the ego? Meaning, yes, you've won those 6 titles, but this isn't New England. So maybe you have to do things different. You're coming off 4 losing seasons. So maybe he didn't come in there like, hey, I don't need control. I just want to coach and I just want to lead men. But people are automatically assuming that, McKay, again, which more than likely it is. But my point is, if Belichick was still trying to win or win a championship and maybe even pass Don Shula, it seemed like the way to go would be to pull back a little bit. Now he's looking like he won't even be employed as a head coach. So it's funny how quickly that turns.
Yeah, we talked about that, and I put a scenario in where here's a guy that can come and stabilize the ship and build some discipline whatsoever. I didn't say that, I wanted him to be the head coach. I can see the logic in wanting him as the head coach. Now, but here's the thing that's always confused me about coaching is this. You fire a guy because he didn't do his job. But then you want to hire a guy who just got fired for not doing his job. That makes no sense to me. So you fire a guy because he didn't win enough. And then you want to hire a guy who just got fired because he didn't win enough. That doesn't match. That makes no sense to me. And it happens in the college level and it happens in the NFL level every year, all the time. And I don't get that. But at the end of the day, man, I'm happy with what I'm satisfied with what has been done. I'm eager to see now. What I'm eager to see is to put the staff together. That's the first thing on the agenda, put the staff together. Then I'm eager to see what we're going to do in free agency. And then from free agency, what are we going to do in the draft?
Right.
And then once that's over with, we're getting ready for OTAs and mini camps and training camp whatsoever. And then the one thing that we all gonna be looking for is, are we gonna play our starters in the preseason? Or are we gonna sit them? I bet you they play in the preseason. I bet you that.
I hope we have a QB coach this time.
And I'm pretty sure we're gonna have a quarterback coach this time around also.
And do you know Raheem personally?
I don't know him personally. I can get to him.
Okay.
Of course, I'm gonna make that phone call and tell him I am interested in joining his staff as his wide receiver coach whatsoever, and just see how it plays out. You know, if it's meant for me, it's meant for me. If it's not, hey, look, there's other doors out there.
Well, I hope it's meant for you.
We'll pray about it. We'll pray
Yeah,
about it. And we'll see what
exactly.
happens.
Well, aside from the major coaching news, the NFL playoffs are still going on. We're coming down to the championship weekend, AFC Championship, NFC Championship. We've got Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs going against Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens up in Baltimore. And on Sunday night, you have the Detroit Lions taking on the San Francisco 49ers. You excited about these matchups, and what do you how do you think they're going to go?
Detroit, San Francisco, I'm very excited about is because of the fact that a lot of you don't know I was born in
Born in
Detroit.
Detroit.
And you know, and still have family in Detroit. I own a house in Detroit, and I got to root for Detroit because of the fact that a big Barry Sanders fan, um, you know, Megatron and all those guys. You know, for the time they put in, I want to see that organization finally get their due. I want to see that, and that'll be exciting for that city. You got to remember, just probably what, maybe 10, 15 years ago, the city was bankrupt.
Yeah.
And now look where they are today. I mean, what a story. And for this franchise to get to the NFC Championship game and hopefully play in the Super Bowl,
Mhm.
that will be amazing story for this city, for the city of Detroit. The other one, oh, Patrick Mahomes scared me, man, because I really thought it was Buffalo's time,
Mhm.
the way they finished the season and the way the Chiefs were playing. I said, oh, boy, I think Andy Reid was his best coach game, I think, all season, man. And I was like, oh my God. But that MVP in Baltimore is something electric. You know, during the game prior, it seemed like they kept sacking him and he kept not, you know, making plays, and not what would, you know, they kept saying the speech he gave the team at halftime,
Mhm.
which was the thing that galvanized them to come out in the second half and play the way they played. And man, it's gonna, that AFC Championship game, man, gonna be so wow, that's gonna be special, man. And the thing is, you hate for one of them to lose, but one of them gonna have to lose. So it's a great matchup on both sides. Then you got Brock Purdy on that NFC side that is, you know, he's gonna be, you know, right now it's one of those things that
Let me ask you real quick, since you mentioned Brock Purdy.
Mhm.
Do you think he's at the class with Mahomes and Allen and Jackson, or is he more of a game manager? Because I'm sure you heard the talk with Cam, and he was talking about the game managers versus.
Well, here's the thing: you can't put him in that category yet.
Yeah, I agree.
You can't put him in because first of all, he hasn't won an MVP. He hasn't played enough football yet to put him in that category. Now he go ahead and get into the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl. Now we start putting him in that category of with those upper echelon guys, but I think it's way too early. I don't think he's a game manager.
Yeah.
At no point I think he's a game manager at because he that offense is a quarterback driven offense, and you have to play for that offense to go and for that team to win. The quarterback has to play well, and so that's not a game manager. He's a true NFL quarterback leader that is called upon to win football games, and so I wouldn't call him a game manager at all.
Eh, so I want to go back to my picks as well. The Lions. So I went to Detroit this year when the Falcons played, and they whooped the Atlanta Falcons. But the atmosphere was electric. The fans, I could just, and again, this was like game two, I believe, and
Right.
you could just feel the energy from them,
Mhm.
like it was going to be something special this year. I mean, you really could. They
Right.
had because it was, I think it was their first home game we happened to go to. So Barry Sanders was there, but it was real electric.
Right.
And I don't really want Shanahan to win until the Falcons win. So I can't go for the 49ers. So I gotta go for the Lions. How does your what's your family been saying up there about it?
Oh
How they
man, they're going crazy, man. Oh my God. They are, oh wow. It's it's like the time where we went to the NFC championship
Mhm.
game and went on to the Super Bowl, how Atlanta was.
Right.
That's how Detroit is right now.
Yes.
It's like you said, it's electric. I heard something today and I almost agree. I kind of agree with it. They said they should give Barry Sanders a 1-day contract if they make it to the Super Bowl. And and just because he's one of the greatest of all time. Says, how cool would that be? And I
Right.
want to take it a little further. If you give him that 1-day contract and I don't want him to play because he shouldn't play. But if they have the ball last and they in victory formation, send him out there to be the safety standing in his number 20,
Yeah.
that would be crazy, man. That would be crazy.
Knowing how and what I mean knowing just that documentary, Run Barry Run, that was the first time I really got to see him talk and be personal. It seems like he probably would be like, "Nah,
Yeah, he wouldn't do it.
yeah, you're not
Yeah,
gonna do that. I'm
he
not gonna
wouldn't
do
do
that.
it.
I know you're gonna
He
put me in the
he
game."
wouldn't do that because he would say, "Well, what about Megatron? What about this guy? What about
Yeah.
that?"
Right.
He's that type of guy.
Right.
He no, he doesn't. Barry never wanted the fanfare.
Hmm.
Barry was just playing football and trying to help his football team win. He didn't want endorsements and commercials and
Hmm.
all those things. He just wanted to do something he loved to do. And I think I've shared with you before about when we were in the Pro Bowl. I thought Barry is very he I mean, he's particular who he wants to hang out with and who he wants to talk to. So I remember we were in the Pro Bowl and Barry says to me, he says, "What you doing tonight?" Because Mel Gray, who was a kick returner, he
Uh-huh.
and I became really good friends, and he was a kick returner with Detroit. So him and Mel knew each other. So he said, "What y'all doing tonight?" I said, "We're gonna go out, whatsoever, blah, 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 into town." And we was in Hawaii at the time. He says, "I want to go." So we went and we went to this little lounge and they playing music, people dancing, and Barry didn't had not one drink, and Barry barely said anything, but he did bob his head to the music a little bit.
Yeah.
So the second day before practice was over, we're going out again tonight. So we did that for like 6 straight nights. And I was like, Barry Sanders hanging out with us? And it was so cool. And and he and I formed this kind of friendship. We don't talk a lot. When we see each other, it's like, hey, I ain't seen you in a long time,
Right.
brother, whatsoever. But Barry's a very secluded guy where he doesn't like a lot of fanfare at all.
Yeah. The other game, I like them both. I like both. I like both quarterbacks. I like both teams. Again,
Mhm.
it's not the NFC, so I want the
Yeah,
AFC to win. And if Detroit win, okay, but again, the Falcons had never won, so that kind of be bad if Detroit won before us. So I'm
yeah.
gonna pull for the AFC, but I think I got to go for Lamar. Again, I like Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, and I like
Mhm.
Lamar. I just hope to see a good game, a real
Yeah,
good game. Back and forth, come down to the wire,
right.
kind of like how that Buffalo and Kansas City game was. It
Mhm.
was very entertaining.
Well,
And
I want Lamar to win, get his first
hmm
Super Bowl championship ring. Patrick got him a couple. so
Right.
far. And then I want him to get it because what was that statement about 4 or 5 weeks? Quarterback.
Quarterbacky. He's not
Yeah,
quarterbacky.
he's not a quarterback. He's quarterbacky. I want to
Quarterbacky.
well,
Yeah.
he's going to be MVPE
Yeah.
when the season
Exactly.
ends, and
That
hopefully he's going to be Super Bowl championship winner and MVP of that game also. So
and
it's just almost like people, when you do things and say things about people like that, and that you don't really know, and that and you kind of show how much you know about the game.
mhm.
It's just terrible, man. It's just terrible putting stuff like that out there. And this guy's out here, you don't understand what he has to go through as a quarterback, and you're gonna disrespect him at that position. I didn't like that. I
It
didn't like
drives
that.
me insane because, people will make those derogatory comments. Oh, he's a running back, or he could have been a receiver. He does this, that, and a third. But Josh Allen,
I was gonna go there.
Josh Allen runs 2 touchdowns, and he
Mhm.
looks to run every time he's in the goal line. And I'm not knocking that. What I'm
No,
trying to tell people, the quarterback position has evolved.
yes,
Why wouldn't you want a winner? You want a guy behind there that can play quarterback, that knows how to make whatever decision it
right,
takes to get
right.
y'all the win.
So you say Josh Allen should be playing tight end?
Exactly.
Josh Allen should be a H
Running
back.
back as well.
What are you saying? Should he be a H back instead of a quarterback? Because that's what he does. He moves around the pocket and runs and scores touchdowns with his feet. So you know what? It's it's different criterias for different players at different positions,
And
and
different coaches as
and
well.
and different coaches as well. And it's just something that we have to deal with, and we're going to continue to deal with. And that when we get together, we understand there's an unwritten rule is that we have to be at least two or three times better than our counterparts to be able to be recognized or be able to sustain longevity in what we do in our careers. I mean, that's just
That's
case that
facts. Yeah,
we
that's
just
facts though.
we just know that, and people can say, "No, but that's how we feel." You can't tell me how we feel.
Mhm.
You can't tell me what we see, because people would debate that and say, "No, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen." You don't see things from my eyes. You don't wear my shoes. You
Right.
haven't been where I've been. You haven't sat in the seats where I've sat. You haven't been in the rooms where you hear people talking, and the things that they say about you. So you can't say that does not happen. Oh, I don't believe that. Oh no, it happens, and we have to endure a lot. And I'm just so happy for Raheem being the first black head football coach for
Right.
this Atlanta Falcons franchise. And I'm gonna cheer him, and I'm gonna applaud him, and I'm gonna pray for him, and I'm gonna support him, because we don't see that often, not at this profession,
Mhm.
and I'm happy to see it.
And I'm thankful it's happened. You would just think though, in a city of Atlanta, it would have happened a while ago. But I'm glad that it's here. What you got for us to end the show?
Well, here's the thing, is this. I was thinking about something. We always talk more about our downfalls and what is not happening for us whatsoever, instead of talking about our blessings. We give the enemy too much credit. When I say the enemy, I'm talking about the devil. We give Satan too much credit for our downfall. Is this. We always says, well, man, the devil got a stronghold on me. Man, Satan is in this building, and oh my God, the enemy is trying to tear me down whatsoever, but this and that. And every time you mention his name, he gets bigger and stronger into your life. But when you say, let me tell you this, when you say the name of Jesus, it says every knee shall bow, angels shall bow to the name of Jesus, and the devil and the enemy will flee in the name of Jesus. And we got to start speaking life over us. And we start speaking life over other people whatsoever, and stop speaking death over them. He ain't this, she ain't that. Oh, he can't do, she can't do. No, we got to speak life. You want great life, you want great things to happen for you, speak great things into others. Let them know, hey, you're going to be great. I'm praying for you. Oh, that is great. Even You don't understand. We don't have the final say. Only God has the final say. So whatever we think about somebody, okay, that's your opinion. But what matters the most is what God thinks. So let's speak life into each other and stop speaking death and stop using that name over the name of the Most High, Jesus Christ. Thank
Man, appreciate it as always,
you.
too.
Mhm.
All right, congratulations, Raheem Morris, new Atlanta Falcons head coach. Let's make this season a special one.
Yes, sir.